Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to a 1 versus 1 on Holotny Felmer. Between the West, we got Guard 2707, you'll just call him Guard, fighting here for the Soviet Union, Socialism, taking on the role here of the 10th Tank Division. Corps, actually not Division. Division was, in sort of how the shirt works, rather ranked lower in sort of how Western Division we went. On the eastern side, though, we have Karl fighting for Germany, Deutschland, for the 17th Panther Division. We got mobile defense, mechanized assault, and elite troops with double infantry machine gun versus reserve army, anti-infantry, and lend-lease tactics with satchels, grenades, and, well, anti-tank grenades, basically, and H-25 tank destroyer bullets for Guard, so he's ready for blowing up some fascists and their tanks. We got ND-42 grenades out there for Karl, he moves westwards, and we got conscious there for Guard with penal troops. They're likely to fall up for him. Penal troops certainly being very popular here in the current match. That's not to say all is just going all full penal troops. There's still some conscripts, some still trying to mix in the new Maxim, and they actually do pretty well too. So moving out here pretty aggressively here, trying to perhaps spot out what Karl is up to there. And we got MD4 taking southwards there, point them secured by the core point with a bit of barbed wire as well to prevent the Guard from rushing in, sort of sitting up there behind the heavy cover. So sharp move there by Karl, who could also consider laying down some sandbags of his own around here to help defend the core point more easily. In the south, MD42, ooh, nice move here by Guard, trying to wire off the area here, but in this case caught by an MD42. Karl Everts ready with some Maschinengewehr. Ludwig, get some Maschinengewehr ready. It is already ready. Ah, good. Where's the ammunition? Oh, yeah, sorry, here. So we got a scout car following up here for Guard, the M3A1. Conscripts falling back, grabbing the northern point here. So we can see that Guard, I think, was aiming for a more destructive opening versus his opponent. I mean, note here, he's sort of trying to pressure towards the south, but he's not actually securing any of the territory in the north here. So in that regard, he is going to fall a bit behind him, Karl, in terms of resources, which is something Guard needs to be very, very careful about. Because Conscripts moving up against the Grenadiers here, engaging up aggressively there with their mercenary guns versus the Kar-98Ks. Scout car out here for Guard, though. The white scout car there, usually I think used as part of the Rota Rasetsky, was a sort of a special Soviet reconnaissance unit, sort of meant for finding weak spots of the German lines, hammering them in there, and sort of waiting for the rest of the Soviet army to sort of arrive and try to exploit the opening. Sort of a little fun fact there. That was sort of a reasonably elite unit. And sort of one of the things I actually kind of wished Relic would have somehow added to the game, you know, sort of more specifically, since, you know, I figured they'd be sort of a pretty nice addition. But we got more grenades on the way for Karl here, up to 3 grenadier squads so far. Guard again lacking behind in units again, sort of trying to play a bit more aggressively, mobily here, flexibly versus Karl. The so far strong. Oh no, he might be able to go through here with the penal troops inside the scout car, ambushing an overwhelming loss for Philly Karl units in the south. Very nice move there by Guard. Very nice assault there. Up north, the Grenadiers fighting up the engineers and just being overwhelmed by the German infantry. While at the same time pushing ahead here, but there it goes straight into the Grenadiers with the Panther fast. But then again, the penal troops will be able to get some hits there. Scout car should have a chance of surviving here. That's going to be a bit close. Grenadiers continue to ignore the penal troops, taking a lot of damage from them, in fact. I mean, he might get the scout car, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to be entirely, well, it would be worth it as long as he doesn't lose. Oh, there we go. Push back, needs to get the scout car repaired. More penals on the way there for Karl, but he's certainly having a pretty rough start. He's doing some damage to Karl, but resource-wise, Karl's going to be far ahead here of him. He's setting up bunkers as well there inside his own base, preparing for the next move. And there goes Scout car rolling back. We got the second penal squad out here for Guard. Penal troopers, of course, being, well, penal troopers, convict, you know, made up of political prisoners occasionally, but also just troops that have fallen, you know, into trouble for, well, whatever reasons, really. Could be tankers, you know, they'd abandoned their tank too fast, got their tank stolen by other tankers who didn't want to get sent to penal units. You know, troops that someone just, you know, gotten, you know, into trouble. So they were a mixed bunch, but they were generally quite fanatical, actually attempting to really, you know, redeem themselves, and so actually fought pretty spiritedly, as a fun fact there. Up north here, conscripts are going to, well, primarily, I mean, obviously some wouldn't have had, but the general idea seems to be in the hat. Anyways, points are secured. Penal troops moving ahead there. Scout car being fixed up. Then there we go, fuel point cut off for Karl. So Guard here now with the penal troopers striking a bit harder here versus Karl. And there you go, we've got 2 grenade squads versus 1 penal trooper squad, but heavy cover versus light cover. Might be some chance here to buy up some time, but there you go. MD42 joining us all here for Karl and the 17th Panther Division. Up north here, penal troops moving in. 3rd penal trooper squad on the way there for Guard. Scout can now flamethrower rushing, and he's going to go straight for the MD42. Not a bad idea. Of course, we got seen Canadians immediately pulling back, but that actually relieves pressure on the penal troopers. So that's actually a pretty nice distraction they pulled off. Again, it's not going to be able to, you know, hold the point of thing, but actually render his, which means it's going to take longer for Karl to actually grab it. And there you go, keeps at it here. So some nice maneuvering here by Guard in the south, up north, grabbing the fuel point there. Canadians here not doing anything, pioneers securing the munitions. Troops reinforcing, got medics on the way there for Guard and the 10th Tank Corps. Canadians there being opened up there with Scout Cut and the Engineers, the Flamethrowers, penal troopers moving ahead there. Up north, Canadians firing away there. No upgrades so yet for Karl's infantry, no light machine guns or doctoral choice. There needs to say G43s or assault Canadians. I mean, it's that we got. Karl's got a lot of options, but so far it's not pursuing them. Then again, neither is Guard in the current set. But there again, a lot of aggressive action here for Guard, and that's now having a bit more of an impact versus Karl as the game progresses. He has tech up, but he's yet to build it. He definitely should consider that soon, unless he's planning a tier 3 rush, in which case he's going to need a heavier tier 1 to actually make it work there. I mean, 3 Grenadiers, 1 for 2 is a bit too light there, I think, to pull off a proper tier 3 rush. So, Karl there needs to make up his mind soon. Meanwhile, Guard here rushing forwards against Karl. Securing points here across the northern half of the map. While troops are being healed, reinforced. The penal troops are setting up with the SVT-40 semi-automatic rifle, which was supposed to be the standard rifle by way of the Soviet army, but by the time the war broke out, the Soviet industry wasn't quite ready, and so the most of the guns still stuck, but they would still sort of hand out SVT-40s to, you know, just different units. For example, the naval infantry, the fighting in Sevastopol, for example, were fully equipped with SVT-40 semi-automatic rifles, as a fun side note. And there we go, we got the doctoral choice here for Karl. It's gonna be elite troops. Ever potent one, and one of my favourites ones simply because of the stormtroopers. I just love the stormtroopers. They're probably my favourite infantry in the game. Well, at least one of them. MD4 to the back to get flanked here by the penal troops there through the house. Grenadiers moving in, of course, now got access to the Stielhandgranate there, concussive, which, well, stun, but technically that's just what a concussive grenade does. Rely on the shock force, since the, well, Model 24 grenade did not technically rely on fragmentation, but again just a shock force, but in some ways made it less effective. Of course, they could then apply sort of fragmentation sleeve on top of the grenade, so that way, you know, give more lethality. Little fun detail there. Penal are being pushed back. We got Pioneers saying northwards, but now we can see Guard is in a much stronger position here versus Karl. Much stronger position. Of course, see now Karl here gets in the 222 light Panzer Speerwagen. Penal continue to hold up here in the northern house. Will he go for some anti-tank rifle here to counter the 222? Or will he instead go for some doctoral option, like say anti-tank partisans? Let's see what Guard aims for here versus Karl. Double Grenadiers with G43s there, charging forwards though. Noting, of course, he's not really using any. Oh, there we go. He's reacting somewhat with cover here against the fact he's being engaged here by a lot of penal troopers and such. Oh, also noting, he's using merging his penal troopers. Very good move there. He's actually got a single conscript squad here, which of course he's actually using to merge with his penal troopers. That way, you know, keeping them pretty cheap. And also, you know, that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever there by Guard. Nice to see some merge actually being utilised by certain players that aren't me and just, you know, using a lot of rapid conscription. And yes, I did use merge in that previous battle. I just used it rather late, but still I used it. Now he's still engaging engineers, trying to lay down bar. Why, pretty risky move there by Guard. High likelihood of losing the engineers if he's not careful. Could go here for some stormtroopers to support his forces. You could also go for Panzer Grenadiers or a half-track. I mean, a half-track here would give Karl a lot of mobility at the front line, of course, and also just the ability to reinforce. So that would be a pretty good choice here for Karl, you know, a quick half-track. But there you go, we got the PTRS up for him and his Stravniki. Got the Scout rushing ahead again. Flamethrowers there at the ready as well. And there you go, quickly pulling back in the face of the 222, which itself can't rush too far forward because of the PTRSs. Back here, healing reinforcement, pressing towards the north here. Nothing further going on there with the Karl space or resources. We got Pack 40 there, the Panther Arbeck and 140. Penal troopers there again merged. In fact, they are all conscripts that somehow become penal troopers. Congratulations, you've been promoted into penal troopers. What? You're all now convicted criminals. What? Yes, rejoice. You saved me a lot of trouble. Anyways, grabbing points there. Grenadiers falling back. We got conscripts, penals there moving ahead. Fixing up the tank group battalion command. MD42 in a slightly awkward position. Notice the penal troops in heavy cover. That's going to be losing engagement there for the MD42 unless someone sticks their heads out too far and gets the entire unit suppressed. And meanwhile, can shoot pressing south that's here for Guard. And up north, that point being secured. tank group, tank command there for guard, and the 10th tank corps, or tank corps, not tank division again. So the units there again sort of slightly working differently due to, again, organisationally, due to the losses doing Operation Barbarossa, which basically caused a lot of scaling down very quickly. So for example, again, a Soviet tank platoon, which is 3 tanks. Whereas again, most Western platoons would have been like 5 to 6 tanks. Well, 5 I think was sort of the general accepted norm. We got a T-7 over there for guard. The light tank here to that way, challenge the 2-2, but also the grenadiers there. No Son of Stormtroopers there for Karl, or Panzer Grenadier, or another 2-2, or half tracks. I mean, there are really a lot of options here Karl can choose versus guard. Minesweeper's up. He's clearly worked here that his opponent might be aiming for some mines. Grenadiers need to retreat though. Or at least should have peeled them out a bit at the front line while they could have. But there you go, tech up there for Karl. Troops reinforcing here. 2-2 hitting southwards there, might be careful. Ah, never mind, there's an anti-tank grenade. So in theory he can be more aggressive here versus his opponent. There we go, guard forced to retreat his men. And there we go, we also got Panzer Grenadier. Up north, Gun is running into trouble here with the penal troops, engineers, and the scout car. Close to it, 2-2 actually. Pretty good work there. We go, penal troops there, opening up. This is the Pack 40 trying to rush it down and steal it. Pretty bad news there for Karl if that happens. There we go, Panzer Grenadier, Grenadier, and the MG42 setting out there. With the Sturmgewehrs 44. Got the T-7 rolling ahead here, 45mm gun at the rear. They're going getting the 2-2, need to get the Pack 40 back, but he's actually pulling back for reinforcement and healing. Not a bad idea, but it does mean his 2-2 in front line user a bit exposed to the T-70 in the meanwhile. Tag up though down there for Karl and the 17th Panzer Division. Just need to get it up there. Or if he's planning a tier 4 for whatever reasons, he needs to be fast about it. Again, like any tech rush and sort of move, then he has to rely a lot then just being able to do it fast, which is, well, a lot of players tend to stumble pretty hard. Got troops heading northwards there, again, Grenadiers hanging in there, Grenadiers holding up there, and we got the Panzer Grenadiers around the centre as well, 2-2 being fixed up slowly by the Pioneers in the south. And there you go, teams moving ahead, again, mostly conscripts. I mean, he's really good at using the merchant just to keep costs down. I'm kind of impressed by that. Again, it does mean that guard overall is spending a lot less. Well, I don't think it's actually a lot less. I'm not sure about that, but how big the difference between country and team troops. Still, there will be a difference there, which overall means it is, well, cheaper for guard in the longer run. Just keep all of these penal trooper squads running and sort of helps keep the manpower bleed down, which is overall pretty good for him. And again, allows you to use resources more efficiently. So that's, one of the reasons, again, you also just keep some conscripts at hand there. Can't quite remember again what the penal troops cost to reinforce, so let's have a look. See, 25. And conscripts, I think, are closer to 20. Still the same as a manpower taken along over the longer term here. Half track there, or scout car versus the Panzer Grenadier. 3 kills. Constant moving back there. We can just also do a quick look there, and there we go. 20. So 5 manpower difference. Imagine he has to reinforce a full penal trooper squad. That's about 25 manpower. And again, you imagine that over longer term, you can quickly saving hundreds of manpower down the road. So I mean, again, initially it might not look like a lot, but again, longer term it can save you a lot of resources, which again could be used on other things like tanks and the like. So there you go, merging, reinforcing. Grenadiers everything run, but the T-7 getting the wiped up. But there you go, 2 moves in to save the day, or at least save the Grenadiers, but sadly not fast enough there for Gefreiter Jürgen, who was obliterated by the 45mm gun. Pack 40 opening up, almost got the T-70, almost, but he does get away. Up north there, fuel point being harassed by Grenadiers. Back here, nothing further going on. No support McCall, no tech up. And nothing further there for the Panzer Grenadier either. So, rather some hectic action going between these two players, but slightly settling down slightly by now. And again, just continued conscripts reinforcing and merging again. Saving quite a bit of manpower there again. He's just sent like at least about 2 conscripts. Well, actually 3 penal troop squads running from this. And again, that's about 75 manpower saved. Just on that. So, and again, the thrifty player can sort of, maintain things a bit longer. So that is some pretty sharp play there by guard. That is some pretty sharp play. Grenadiers still reinforcing. Still no takeoff for Karl or the support McCall. Either way, again, speed is of the essence. I mean, the longer he waits for getting that take up, if he's planning for the tier 4, you know, the longer it's going to hurt himself. Of course, that's going to be even slowing it out the Panther, for example. And similarly, again, the slowest to get out the Pommel Court, that's definitely slower. He's going to get out Panzer 4. And if he's planning for a Panther, which again is definitely one of the riskier things you do without, you know, going for tier 3 first. Good lord, I fumbled that one. You know, you really want to speed it up with, say, a fuel cache. You know, otherwise, again, you risk sort of losing a lot of momentum on it. But again, so far, nothing going on there. But Karl, again, just a lot of time with his just not quite a lot happening. Also noting, this is a rarer site, but he's actually upgraded the Panther grenadiers with G43s. Last player saw do that was Fortune. They seem kind of effective, but let's see if Karl can do something with that as well. Sniper on the way there for Guard to help split out the fascists. Still no tech up there. Meanwhile, though, Guard has teched up already. He's gone for the Mechanized Armor Company. Can now bring up tanks. He's also gone for Reserve Army, opening up there for Rapid Conscription. When he's moving up there with the Panther to deal with the T-70, he's keep it a bit further back. A bit of damage down there. Engineers out there getting shot to bits. Sniper almost done. Karl still not doing anything with his resources. No tech, no nothing. Definitely needs to make a decision there soon. No, then later. Still nothing happening there. And, oh, here's still nothing happening there either. I mean, come on, Karl. Make a decision for Germany. Deutschland demands decisions. Strategies and tactics and all that. Pums versus Grenadiers. Whatever shall I tell my mother? I don't know. How about you don't tell her at all? That's a great idea, Petrov. Up here, the troops are knocked up. We got there the anti-tank parts. They're pushing back. The Panther going to deal it. Yes, going for tier 4. So again, could have been faster. He could have been a lot faster. And again, he could have supported it with a fuel cache at the very least. Wiped one of the Pums escorts there. Good work, though he should heal up the Grenadiers using the field first aid kit to sort of get them more closer to full health. That just ends up retreating them. Oh well. Still, that could have been a lot faster than that we can have the Panther caught later. And of course, when he can't get the Panther right away, that could have been further supported by a fuel cache much sooner. So that way, you know, speed up the Panther. So in that regard, it seems like a not quite fully fledged Panther rush strategy. And again, Panther rush strategies are very much dependent on you actually, you know, either getting up fuel caches or choosing a doctrine that can supply you with extra fuel so you can get out the Panther fast. And certainly also just building everything fast. That's definitely one thing that Karl has not been doing. So in that regard, it's not that fast. But again, even now, of course, rushing a Panther is pretty difficult. Again, requires a lot of resources. And the impact of it is quite limited, which is certainly one of the issues there. And again, it's also why I just generally recommend you first build your support armor corps, get out some tanks, and then push with Panthers. That way, the Panther sort of works more as an extension of your Panzer 14 Dukes, which I think is sort of where it can sort of work better, rather than just, you know, going straight for the Panther. Again, we have seen very rare few players that can pull it off, but it is rare. We got the Rapid Conscription up here for Guard. 2707 here. Allowing to sort of got a few more losses here against Karl. Heavy Panther call almost done again. A few more moments there. But again, fuel cache much sooner. Plus perhaps the tech. I mean, he probably could have Panther at least a minute or two sooner here versus his opponent, which I think would have been pretty good for Karl. Again, the faster you can get out of Panther, the better. And he actually, I'd be saying, you know, built one around the 10-minute mark. He could probably have out the Panther a lot sooner. Like, you know, again, he checked properly. I mean, we're probably talking about, you know, the 16 to maybe even 15-minute mark here versus Guard. So, I mean, 3 minutes with a Panther is a lot of time. Oh, you've got T-Nurse's Panther Faust, T-3476 on the way there for Guard. So, I mean, even then, he's going to, you know, by the time his opponent's got a medium tank, he's going to have the Panther out. So, that's not exactly bad for Karl even then. But, again, as I'm trying to point out here, he could head out a lot faster versus Guard. So, I mean, again, if you're trying to rush armor, you need to work on the timings more than anything else. And particularly if you're trying to rush out a Panther, you really need to work on the timings. North here, Panther tearing into the Pumas. They're doing a lot of damage. I mean, the Panther Grenadiers with G43s are surprisingly effective, I would say. And there you go, we got the Panther on the way here for Karl and the 17th Panzer Division. Panzerkampfwagen 5, Panzer. Pack 40 he needs to pull back. He tried to get the T-70 but failed. He could also consider some Stormtroopers out here with some Sturmgewehrs. That would also give him some impact. But there we go. You can now see that Guard is sort of filling up his ranks there with conscripts with submachine guns. The PPSH-41. Quite an effective submachine gun, and also, I think, more or less a straight rip-off of the Finnish submachine gun I don't know the main name of. But I think they more or less napped that one from the Finnish. When they need to retreat in the face of the T-34-76. Up here, Panthers there being pushed back. And back here, reinforcing, healing. Panther almost down there for Karl and the 17th Panther Division. Need to go there with the Pack 40. Ah, Karl, scheiße. It's a pack, not a Panzer. And then going rushed by conscripts. Again, lack of infantry here, rather hurting them a bit. Panther, though, is pretty much down there for Karl and the 17th Panther Division. But it will challenge the Russians with a mighty firepower. And the high velocity gun of it, which was quite potent. Also very accurate due to the high velocity of the gun itself. And as a fun fact, most people only look at the caliber when they consider the strength of a gun, which has many people trying to argue that a T-34-76 should be just as good as a Panther, for example, if not even better, because it has a higher caliber gun than the Panther. Because very few people ever consider the caliber of the gun, not a caliber, the velocity of the shell itself, which plays a larger role when it comes to penetrating armor. And we've got penal machine almost done here for the Panther, engaging the penal troopers, getting some kills with the machine guns. So there we go. I mean, he's got now quite an edge over guard here with the Panther there. Some good infantry. He needs to sort of push aggressively and support the Panther with the infantry. He should also consider laying down some mines for his opponent. But there we go. Again, Panther getting some good kills with machine guns. I mean, he's got Panther at roughly the 20-minute mark and actually delayed his opponent. So he doesn't really have a lot to counter it with, which is pretty good for him. He needs to get to the T-34-76 with the Panther if possible. In the south here, Panthers versus conscripts. And he needs to retreat. He could consider securing the P2S just to notch his opponent. And there you go, out in the open. Panther getting more kills there. So the Grenadiers. I think that the Panther slightly closer to get more effectiveness than his machine guns, but oh well. Finally in the south here. Gonna need a grenade. I was gonna need something else to push back the conscripts. And back here, Grenadiers sort of setting up. Again, Stormtroopers and more Panthers here would be, I think, really good choice there for Karl. I generally feel like the Panther's sort of an armoured unit that needs some assault and to sort of really work with it. Oh, we need to get the Panther slightly repaired and then need to get more aggressive. I mean, again, if you go for a Panther, again, you rush for the Panther, you want it to be, the centerpiece and you want to push it aggressive versus your opponent. And remember, its machine guns are actually, pretty solid. So you gotta use the machine guns on the Panthers well, pretty reasonably well versus infantry, in particular versus conscripts. They'll do a lot of damage, particularly the non-veteran conscripts. So there, again, as you can see there, it's pretty getting a lot of kills, almost wiping the conscripts on its own with the Panther, for example. There you go, troops being suppressed here, points being secured by the Pioneers. Got the southern fuel point up north, they're going fuel there. There you go, pinned down here, Panther half 8 veterans, one guy into tank parts, being hit there. Grenadiers being hit there with more Grenadiers. No sign of Stormtroopers still here though for Karl. And Guard is certainly under pressure here from Karl, then his Panther, and of course all the infantry. He's about to lose the anti-tank parts in the south here. T-70 going in for the Pioneers. Could get the Panther down there, rush it through here, the terrain, and sort of engage the T-70 directly. That'd be a pretty good choice there. Penals are being shot to bits. And over here, troops reinforcing healing. And we got more rapid conscription for Guard to soak up the losses in the fight against the fascists. Almost got a wipe there. Panther being fixed up, though I would suggest moving up to support the Grenadiers here while he can. I mean, instead he's allowing the Grenadiers to be... In fact, he's not really using a lot of cover, is Karl? I mean, Karl just seems to be running about a lot with his infantry, in particular now he's got G-43s on them. Which isn't exactly healthy for the Grenadiers. They're Grenadiers, not shock troopers. There you go, going straight for the T-70, crashing through the terrain. Good hit there, good hit. Closing in on Veterans 1, but there you go in the centre. He hasn't recruited the Pack 40, by the way. Almost got the T-70 there. T-70 rushes away, engine is being suppressed. Shoots, misses. Shot bounced off the Panther's frontal armour, there you go. Gets a good hit in the T-34-76. I mean, he's actually maintaining a pretty good map presence here as a Guard at the moment. Again, despite, rushing out Panther, which is probably one of the more risky things you can do as a Valmet at the moment, but he's actually doing pretty well because of it. Not without him, actually, sort of really supporting it and being pretty slow in actually going for it. So now again, he's doing kind of well, though I do feel like, again, he's trying to be a bit more aggressive and support it better with infantry. Alright, Panther Grenadiers here. 17 kills, close fetching 3. They've done really well, actually. I'm a bit surprised at that. HD5, they're on the way here for Guard. Southern point there secured. Panther north facility with the T-70 there. Though he is making a bit of a mirroring mistake again. He's sending in the Panther, I mean, unsupported at all. I mean, he's good to be aggressive with it, but, you know, you don't know if your opponent has any mines around up here. So, just, yeah, a bit more careless, but there you go. Got the T-70 there, no chance versus the Panther. He can actually soon go for the Tiger Ace, which could be pretty effective too. There you go, grenades here versus the penal tubers. Double concussive, seems a bit excessive. Need to get the Panther down there to support. Pack 4 to recruit, Panther covering, MD42 needs to get that. In fact, with all the conscripts Guard is throwing out, you might want to consider another MD42, or even an SU-5, or not SU-5, but the Sturmpanzer. To sort of blast with Russian infantry. A Panther effort could also work here. Or, of course, more Panther Grenadiers, or Stormtroopers. Oh, there you go, Panther to T-Fed falls from 66 kills, there, veteran 1. Pack 40 gun, good hit. T-Fed fall out to get away. Panther there being flanked. With an anti-tank grenade. Quickly airing into the with the pinned machine guns. Shoot, Ludwig, shoot! I want those bastards with damaged my Panzer. Oh, just look at it. We're gonna have to spend hours in maintenance after this. I hate it. But the penal troops are definitely having an impact there as well for Guard. And again, the merging on the thing again is saving actually Guard a lot of manpower again in the longer run. So he can go for another Panther. He could go for the Tigers. He actually is going for the Panther. He actually is going for the Panther. Demo charge on the center. Sneaky Guard. Panther exposed. MD42 a bit too slow to set up there. Should have set up there to cover the positions. And again, another MD42 would be a halfback choice over for Karl. But there goes. Should find getting the Panther. Need to recruit the pack folder there. And he needs to flank the Should in this case. Shot bouncing off the Panther's 80mm of sloped armor. Comes there getting absolutely murdered out in the open here versus the Grenadiers and the likes. The sniper is having a bit of an impact here as well. In fact, we got a pretty big assault here for Guard. Rifle grenading with each. Oh, what? Each lost there. Karl is feeling a bit pressure to field here versus Guard. He's just rushing in to meet the assault and actually taking quite a few losses in the process. Pack 40 still on the way. Grenadiers need to retreat. Panther Grenadier charging forward here with the G for defeat and the Sturmgewehr 46. But he is still under a lot of pressure here from Guard. Second Panther ready. Second Panther ready. And the first one here is halfway to Vetri 2. If we get to Vetri 2, that would be pretty great there for him. But there you go, taking more from the HD5. He needs to flank the HD5 with the Panthers. A good flank assault here I think could be quite devastating. Particularly because, well, Guard isn't doing a lot there to mine his flanks at all. So a good deep flank with the Panthers could, I think, prove devastating. But basically, what he should do is then take the two Panthers, send them up here, attack with infantry from the front, and then, you know, go up through here, move through here, then attack through the compartment here, get behind the HD5 that way, you know, catch it off guard. I mean, even if someone reacts to it, he's going to still have to turn about, but that could give him sort of, you know, precious time to get close to the HD5 and destroy it. But we'll have to see. But just as I said, of course, that's going to be pretty silly there by Karl. Pretty silly. I mean, he's got two Panthers. That's not exactly, you know, small change. There's a lot of resources and in essence a lot of power. But there you go, Pims are getting absolutely blasted out in the open. Almost got them wiped there, but again it does seem to resort a bit, you know, just a move attacks, blobbing, no real cover usage there. Just sort of running about in the open there. And that can actually get punished in a moment if he's not careful, because there's a demo charge right there, and if he just blobs right onto it. Ooh, goal to good use of going points with D34. Oh, no, Karl, 9! Ah! Don't blob, you tit! And he didn't use the Panther to support. He just blobbed ahead and didn't have the tank supporting. Come on, Karl. You rush for Panthers and then you don't use them. And now he's splitting them up. Have you read your Guderian? Strike with a fist, not an open hand. I mean, this is completely, I think, just patching up there for Karl. As really ineffective use of his Panthers. Really ineffective use. And now he's completely pulling it back there. And then in the other Panther at the front line, exposing 3 to the tank destroyer. Oh, Gott in Himmel. Taking hits on the Pack 40 as well. What are you doing, Karl? The Panthers not King Tigers. But somehow happen to be faster. And then of course rushes other Panther in front of the 85 as well. He doesn't even try to flank it. I mean, he is not really handling those Panthers well there. He's not handling them well. Another rapid conscription here for guard. More infantry. And it is just charging forwards again. No real cover usage here. No real maneuver. Just raw force there. Gunning down the Russians up close. More T-34s there for guard and the 10th Tank Corps. Panthers being repaired. Losing a lot of the map here to guard as well. As he charges forwards. And they're going to be put two in a really bad spot here. Really bad spot. Kind of feel like Karl here is getting frustrated and flustered. He's just making more and more mistakes as things. Yeah. I think there's clearly a mental thing going on here. I mean, I agree the Panthers could be slightly better. But to call it pudding... Yeah, no. Honestly, it's because he's not using his tanks very well. Could also go out fast, but the thing is, by the time his opponent had a T-34, he had a Panther, yet... You know, he quite didn't, use it as aggressively he could and didn't use it infantry support with it either. So in that regard, I'd rather blame, Karl here than the Panther. I mean, again, his opponent had a T-34, but roughly at the same time, he had a Panther. I mean, really, that should have been just game over in favour of Karl, but... For whatever reason, he just uses Panther so passively. Again, it wasn't well supported at all. And other times, he just sat back doing nothing. I mean, should have pushed it much more aggressively versus Garb, and instead he allowed Garb to just build up counters for it. So, in that regard, I'd hardly blame the Panther. In fact, he even had two Panthers, and he used them as doorstops. I mean, again, he sort of ends up on the same issue again a lot of when your players rush for King Tigers do, which is they end up using it poorly because, they just don't use it at all, really. And the King Tiger's not bad because you don't have to use it. So this guy blame Karl, not the Panther. I mean, again, he was actually pretty close to making it happen, but ultimately, his own tactical mistakes there rather cost him the game, not the Panthers. Had he played it a bit better here, I think he could easily won it. But again, if you're rushing for some sort of armor, use it aggressively when you actually go for it, because really if you just don't use it aggressively, then it's not going to matter. And if you want to try if the Panther works, A, get the timings right, support it better, and, use it aggressively. Again, rushes only work if you then rush, use whatever you rush out aggressively. Otherwise, it's not going to have any impact, and otherwise you're not going to really get any time edge either. And that's basically what, Karl failed in. So, this is your part, lesson again, just what rushes require. Again, it requires A, you support it properly, and if you're rushing for tier 4, again, you need to support it either doctrinally with caches. Otherwise, again, it's not going to work. And secondly, it requires you to use it aggressively. Again, rather than this regard, Karl didn't quite, work it out in either case. And even then, again, it's not like he actually lost a lot of tempo because he actually managed to slow down Guard's tech as much as well. So, ultimately, Karl doesn't quite have a lot of excuses except himself in this case. Again, the Panther, I don't think there was any real issue with. It was Karl. Also, Stormtroopers. Used them, man. Guard, I think, played pretty well there. I mean, had some issues there. Obviously, Karl was actually able to play him a bit there. There were certainly some minds I think that could benefit Karl or Guard here and there versus his opponent. Maybe a half check result for more aggression and some more deeper flanks. But, ultimately, Karl was not undone by the Panther. Karl was undone by his usage of the Panther. In that regard, he could have done much better with the Panther there. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Also, a big thanks to Nathan for donating and supporting the Propagandacast. And if you'd like to support the Propagandacast, consider donating as well, or pledging on Patreon. Links are in the video description. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.